In November of 2020, Albert released a video that ruined the infection side of Roblox for half a decade now. The notable ones, games like the Underground Facility, Goo Dwelling, Goo Animal Simulator, Altered, Transfur Infection, and later Transfur Outbreak. TSC, Twisting Ruins, Transfurify, Moonlight Outbreak, Escape from Change, Project Transfur, Change Roleplay, Kaiju Paradise, Hindsight, and whatever the hell these low-effort games are, all born from a viral mess that Fiddlepat and Flamingo unknowingly helped unleash. Copy-paste Goo. And look, I'm not complaining. I've been playing this Goo mess since I was 10 years old. Now I'm nearing 16 in a couple months. That is 1/3 of my f***ing life. Seeing LEGO characters become goopy fetish adjacent abominations. So anyways, here's the new Goo mechanic, minus the parts where adults are fiddling their while the transfer animation plays. Pretty much a bootleg of Change Special Edition, and smothered with new Raytraxian crystal lore. And like any trend born from the chaos attention, it left behind a trail of removed content, lore changes, unused or unknown content, and a game that should have been deleted, but weren't. This is the Kaiju Paradise Iceberg. Wait, it's all changed. Always has been. The elephant in the room or the jawbreaker in the room, yes, it's very obviously inspired by Changed. The Goo, the transformations, the setting of a f***ed up random lab. But it's okay, Change is a genre now. Now, somewhere along the way, a vocal KP loyalist decided to break that connection entirely. Even wrote what can only be described as a copium manifesto, titled Kaiju Paradise is not a transfer game. In this passionate thesis, Engineer Gaming claims KP is not and must be never be called a transfer game, because now it's about infection, mutilation, and biological lore. You know, totally different from gooey humanoid creatures hugging people into them. They even go far as saying, transfer is a fetish, infection is a concept. Which is a little like saying, coffee is a drink, energy drinks are concept. Sure, KP rebranded the lore here, Raytraxians are now allegedly organic. Goo, or let's just say latex, got reconned and changed references evidence were taped off like a crime scene. But let's not kid ourselves, the gameplay loop, visuals, and yes, the vibes still walk and talk and infect like Change, with their own twist of course, so Dragon Snow wouldn't get this shit deleted once more. The irony? KP's predecessor is TUF. Even the developers didn't mind the comparison back in the early days. It's only after KP got big and certain communities started showing up. Hell, even the 2-day disappearance of KP, that is lore cleansing, began. Some fans went on full PR damage control mode. BlaxorReborn even ran a poll. Keep the transfer or zoom in. Make it a bit less fetishy. 1,567 players voted to change it. 1,149 players said to no, keep the Goo. So yes, that is a majority technically, but not exactly a landslide victory, is it? That's 58% versus 42%, which sounds decisive until you realize it's actually not. It's sort of the split where nearly half of the community is still very much on board with the whole transfer situation. In other words, a majority wanted change, but a remarkably large chunk of the KB community wanted the transfers and Goo-based lore to stay. You can rewrite lore all day to protect the game, but the player experiences speak louder than any Glazer essay. When the infections involve cute antler creatures, assimilating you into one of them. Yeah, Change lives on, whether you like it or not. At the end of the day, I'm sorry. At the end of the day, KP isn't rewriting history, it's just putting on a new mask, and honestly that mask could use some better glue. Kaiju Paradise, truly a fine-tuned system of fairness, consistency, and absolutely no favoritism whatsoever. Getting banned is like spinning a wheel. One player gets the boot for existing, while another can upload a Raytraxian model bent over like a yoga instructor and walk away with a mild eyebrow raise. Wait, people are spending 81 Robux for this? You can spend 81 seconds making something better and with more dignity. At this point, the rules feel less like policy and more like improv comedy, and the punchline, it's usually a ban. All it takes is a moderator in a bad mood and suddenly you're disrupting the peace for breathing near a vending machine. Give someone a ban button and a vague rulebook, and they'll start power tripping faster than you can say mod abuse. Not like they were already. And remember, if you're popular, it's not a rule break, it's a personality trait. In early of 2025, Gootraxians were rebranded to Raytraxians, a bold strategic move to totally not resemble Change. Genius! No one ever thought about changing a few letters to dodge comparison before. It's no secret on KP's imbalancing, survivors get stuck with basic melee weapons, while Raytraxians flex with ranged attacks, teleportation, impersonation, and wait for it. Some of them can even grab weapons and drink Bloxy Colas like the fat person they are. Not to mention, the spawn being utterly useless during power outages, unless you want to get that sweet mullet credits, you fat greedy Raytraxian. before the experimental branch of Kaiju Paradise became very dead, depending on your perspective on what it is today. Movaleta, for instance, used to host minigame, usually with 40 or more players in a single lobby. KP Experimental at that time was less about infection and more of like Battle Royale, hosted by your favorite mod, winning to get their attention about your existence for at least 5 seconds. Then there was the Purification event, a facility cleaning protocol where players had to find keycards and rush into bunkers before the map gets absolutely wiped. Sounds simple, right? Until you realize there wasn't enough keycards, so quickly turned into everyone killing and backstabbing each other just to survive. If you didn't make it, the game just deletes you with gas. Similar to that one angry Austrian painter back in 1942. It was an actual mechanic, occasionally booted up by staff in a bored mood, but most things experimental it did not last. It got removed for being buggy and unbalanced, now just another forgotten feature buried in this iceberg. ImranMW, a somewhat notable individual within the KP experimental scene, appeared to have a complex with firearms. He would assemble a group of what he so-called Laminax operatives, equipped with questionably overpowered weaponry, and deploy them into servers for activities such as protective VIP, hazmat operations, and occasional skirmish. At one point, I was one of these operatives. This arrangement continued right after I was removed. The reason, as it turns out, was that I've drawn his furry shark OC wearing a maid outfit, which in hindsight may have been a tactical error. One of the oldest and most influential infection games on Roblox, pre-Kaiju Paradise. It was grimy, raw, and literally changed, unlike KP, where there's a rave hosted by jammers and VIPs. It's not a fandom until someone starts making charts on who dates who. Take an overly sexualized team game, put it into Roblox, and congratulations, you just opened up the shipping floodgates, you horny son of a b****. And people didn't just stop at what if these two characters held hands. No, they went further. They drew them in poses, multiple poses. Some of them would suggest the artist probably have a second monitor open. For reference materials, of course. Shipping two Raytraxians together? Strange. Yes, but at least follow some internal logic. But then there's the next step. People started shipping Raytraxians with themselves. They look at what is fundamentally a vaguely resembling reptile, related to blue crystals. Gave it a name and said, yeah, that's my boyfriend now. At this point, you're not down bad. You drill straight into the crust and hit lava. In late 2023, Kaiju Paradise mysteriously vanished for 2 whole days. A brief, glorious moment, peace returned to Roblox. It almost felt like a win. But silence didn't last. Fans began pestering the devs, Laminax started flooding Roblox inbox like their life depended on it. And against all odds, the Goo came crawling back. Maybe next time, Dragon Snow would do all of us a favor and pull the plug permanently. So, Photocox 500 ended up in a huge mess. We're talking about multiple minors, weird photo requests. The whole thing is just a train wreck of bad boundaries and questionable judgment. Laminax, predictably, swooped in once it was reported, did the usual PR damage control, removed it, and posted an announcement in the KP Discord. Charum? Yeah, he's gone. Turns out the creator, let's just say, have some ballooning interest. Specifically, NSFW inflation content. He never even wanted his OC, Charum, in TUF or KP in the first place. Laminax did what any studio would do when a PR grenade lands on their lap. Cut ties and wipe the character from existence. Pretended like he never existed in the first place. Now this one's different. Not a scandal, not a crime, just ego. Tristan and Concat, 2 transfer designs with a unique flair, were caught in the crossfire of developer politics. According to multiple sources, the Laminax team treated the creators like dirt. So Tristan, the OC creator, and also the moderation system creator, did what anyone would do when their intellectual property gets mishandled. He filed a DMCA, and just like that, Tristan and Concat and the entire fucking moderation system were wiped from Kaiju Paradise in a legal flashbang. A textbook example in not how to handle creative partnerships. Ah yes, Plantix. The story behind its removal, somehow more petty and more hilarious. Its creator spammed the Laminax Discord with one message. Please report my Plantix! And Laminax being Laminax did exactly that. They pulled the character and banned the guy for good measure. Was it overkill? Maybe. Was it deserved? Who knows? Sometimes it's not a scandal, it's exhaustion. The Panther concept, a sleek, shadowy Gootraxian that actually had a decent appeal, was removed. Not because the creator was controversial, not because it was badly designed, but the creator just didn't want to be part of the transfer genre anymore. Some creatures are removed because they crossed the line. Tiger Shark didn't just cross the line, it drew a new one, traced it from change back to Kaiju Paradise. Too similar, too familiar, too suspicious. In the era where the game was already dodging bullets about being a change clone. This one didn't help the case. The dev caught on, the community noticed, and Tiger Shark was booted. Goodbye, Tiger Shark. Oh. Not all removals are dramatic. Some are just democracy in action. Glubby, a small soap Gootraxian that looks somewhere between a jellybean and a Pokemon with Down syndrome, was removed because no one liked it. That's it. No scandals, no drama. Just pure unfiltered community rejection. People hated the design, said it didn't fit, said it was goofy in the wrong ways. And the devs listened. Lang Freshie and Friezau's OC creator, Kazukiyo, ended a huge wave of controversy that the community usually summarizes as gross and deeply inappropriate. What's actually confirmed is a mix of internal issues, reports of anger issues and conflict towards other contributors, despite only providing the original OC designs and a messy fallout behind the scenes. There were also allegations floating around, mainly from YouTube comments, about the creator drawing their own characters in explicit ways. Whatever the full story is, the outcome is clear. Laminax cut ties with Kazukiyo, removed the content, and what's left are basically 3 wiki pages acting as quiet remnants of what used to be there. There's more, obviously, but I'd rather not have this into full-blown expose. If you want the full greasy lore, go consult everyone's favorite booger picker eater, Gone Fishing. They've documented more drama than a high school group chat. Ironically, they got exposed for, well, let's just say stuff. The cycle feeds itself. Before BlaxorReborn and Jaolin, T.Z.B Studios, now Laminax, was originally founded by the Zoner Bio. And interestingly enough, back then, Transfurs felt a bit more balanced. It's almost as if the current leadership has a bit of a soft spot for the Raytraxians. Curious that. Version 3.2 of Kaiju Paradise was supposed to be something different, a shift away from the sluggish Roblox movement of the main game. Complete with rework movement, advanced PvP mechanics, and a physics overhaul that would have put it years ahead where it is now, but never happened. The most common theory, eternal burnout and poor compensation. BlaxorReborn allegedly failed to properly pay or credit the people working on this ambitious engine. Eventually, the project fizzled out, leaving behind only fragments in devlogs and a privated Roblox experience. Ah yes, Kaiju Paradise clans, the military complex of a furry infection game. Just what the genre needed! If you ever joined a Kaiju Paradise server and saw 5 people wearing the same edgy Roblox outfits, typing in military callout, like in Kaiju Cave, pretending like they're operating in some top secret mission to contain furries, congratulations, you just witnessed a KP clan in action. Their goal ranges from protecting humans to infecting the server with stylish coordination, and occasionally, just terrorizing public servers for fun. And the best part, they actually don't do anything. There's no official clan support in the game, no mechanics, no faction system. Everything is fabricated and held together by pure imagination, Discord moderation, and the shared delusion of being the last hope against latex creatures. It's all roleplay, glorified LARPing. And naturally, where there's moderation bias, there are perks. A select few KP clans just so happen to be sponsored by Laminax, because nothing says balance game like corporate favoritism and a Roblox change ripoff. So, Kaiju Paradise has not one but 2 wikis, because one community-made info dump clearly wasn't enough to contain all of the lore, controversy, and goo mechanics. The old one still proudly wears the title, the original Kaiju Paradise wiki. It's a fossilized archive of the game's more honest past. The change references are all still there. The fetishy overtones, yep, even the characters that the devs really wish you would forget about. It's messy, it's outdated, and it's exactly what the game used to be. So what did they do? They made a new one. It's trying so hard to rewrite the narrative. No latex, no change comparison, and definitely no mentions of the time where people are getting off the screenshots of Slime Pop. Because nothing says we're not a changed fan game, like making an entirely new wiki and pretending the old one never existed. While leaving it live, how you ranked on Google. Before Kaiju Paradise became the bloated juggernaut it is today, Transfurify quietly slid into existence. Imagine the underground facility, but with even more polish and a stronger stench of change clone. That's Transfurify. It ran on the exact same engine as TOF and KP, shared similar assets, and surprised it wasn't even under Laminax. Nope, this came from Watermelon Workplace, BlaxorReborn's lesser known dev group. The game itself is now archived, hidden behind forgotten YouTube video descriptions. If you somehow stumbled into it, you are greeted by a dusty relic that is obviously a reboot of Chain Special Edition. Funny, isn't it? The guy tried so hard to separate Kaiju Paradise from its gooey roots, at the same time also had a side project dripping in them. This was the group that developed Transfurify, and most importantly, it served as a breeding ground for a change-based project, using Dragonsnow's actual asset. Yes, not inspired, remade. Watermelon Workplace didn't just disappear, it was deleted, replaced with Archive Workplace, and promptly buried like the body it is. Alright. Here's the thing about fandoms, give them enough time and they'll make everything weird. Somewhere in the shadowy alleys of Twitter lives a thriving degenerate overworld. These accounts aren't just pushing boundaries, they pack them into a suitcase, ship them to Brazil and lit them on fire. Whether you love it or hate it, or just silently judge it, one thing's for sure, it's not going away, it keeps going deeper. There was a time when you can use Slashy Dance too. It was a classic Roblox glitch. Every serious dev team patched it. And Kaiju Paradise? Yeah, they tried. Laminax patched the glitch, made an announcement, wiped their hands clean. But then somehow they managed to unpatch it, silently, accidentally, for 8 months straight. Personally, I used it a lot, during the good old days of KP's V1.2 Pop Safe Zone, and using it on the 3.1R map. That's over 3 years of glitching and griefing, and I enjoyed every second of it. It wasn't after people started abusing it publicly again that the devs finally noticed and went, wait, that thing's still broken? And just like that, patched. Again, probably for real this time. In August 2024, Kaiju Paradise tried something different. And by different, I mean completely nonsensical. In what can only be described as a bold attempt to distance themselves from Change Fangame label, the devs decided that it would be a brilliant idea to remove the human spawn zone entirely. You know, that cozy little area behind the laser wall, where players could actually prepare before getting mauled by sentient goo. Instead, they introduced random spawns. A system where humans would appear without warning, in completely random locations on the map. In practice, it was like spawning into a war zone with a paper hat and a stick. Most Roblox groups are a mix of kids, devs, and a few people who take things way too seriously. Yes, we skew the young experience, but the Laminax group, the one connected to Kaiju Paradise, has had a disturbing amount of accounts tied to grooming or predatory behavior. This isn't just a rumor. Some of these usernames have shown up in Goo/Spread rings, or Roblox groups like Floof and Zeta Records. A lot of those accounts and groups has been banned now, so it's hard to get exact numbers. Oh shit, I've been recording for 1 hour. The leftover C-frame TUF transfer animation. Why? Oversight? Sentimentality? Or maybe, just maybe, it's one of those weird dev superstition. You delete the old animation, and something else breaks. A chain of independency so chaotic, even the people who made it forgot what plugs into what. So, instead of removing it, they just add a script to skip or disable the transfer animations. Professional. In any case, it's there. You won't see it, you won't use it. Some players claim that the creator of the Halloween 2024 map never received proper compensation for their work. The event map itself was a remake from the ground up, having similar layout to the original. Deep in the creaky underbelly of Kaiju Paradise v3.3 scripts lies what can only be described as the remains of a Raytrax module, a ghost from a previous build. It doesn't do much, it doesn't have to. Its presence alone is enough to raise eyebrows. That's the magic of legacy code. It never dies, it just stays there. Raytrax variants that never made it into the game. They were quietly swept under the rug. Maybe they just didn't fit the developer's vibe that day. These lost variants are like museum pieces that no one gets to see. Glad Spunky wasn't added. The last thing that this game needed was to accidentally unlock someone's fart. Now, believe it or not, after TUF's disappearance, Kaiju Paradise was already in the works. In the earliest version, which you've probably never seen unless you just so happen to be incredibly cool and also 10 years old at the time. The game was rudimentary, a couple of crystals, and a map layout that was a literal box. I know this because I was there. I played it at age 10. That's not a flex. Except it is, but I digress. If you got complaints or criticism on my Iceberg, feel free to direct them to my Discord, @Rexy_. Not that it will matter. Laminax dev will probably see it anyways, right after they finish banning someone for having a cousin. How does that work? This guy's still doing